corner. Alchemy. Because I wanted to play the Lord of the Rings, or sorry, the Lord of the Rings set. Legendary creature. The mechanic. But I think that they chose good mechanics for this set. They chose things that for some food tokens. If you know anything about the hobbits, that's right on. They chose for the orc army, which I think is pretty cool. And Amass was used before in Magic the Gathering, but not with orcs. And let's see, I've got my 2 black mana. I think we go ahead and kill Vran first. The ring tempting me, I don't think it's going to do much good because I didn't have a creature out there. And I used my removal too soon, didn't I? They have everything they need, don't they? I don't have the right mana for that. We'll bring down Gothmog. And we'll go get a second Plains, and that way we might be able to do a counterspell next turn, possibly. I'm willing to block... Oh, hello. Where's my second red source? Do I not have a second island in the entire deck? I'll have to fix that. That is a cheap deck. How did they get the 4 to that? Okay. Let's see. And then we can bring down Swarming of Moria. Make it a 4/4. And I have a treasure. They don't want to attack. That's very interesting. I think I pass. Because now we have counterspell. Like that. We don't proliferate. They're not attacking with the Phyrexian Obliterator. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I think I have to do this. The turn. We're now top decking. Rum Rush with Phyrexian Obliterator, right? That does me no good. For right now. If they remove Gothmog, maybe I can do something. A flyer. A flyer could be problems for me. Dies. It's not the worst thing in the world that could have happened. I kind of like this. Sora the Dark Lord himself. Alright. Do we attack? And if so, with what? That's lethal, so they have to block with something. And we have Menace, so they have to block with at least 2 of their creatures. So all of my stuff is still alive. And whenever a ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. I like that idea. Let's do that. Discard your hand and draw 4 cards. Yes, please. That worked out nice. Target opponent reveals their hand. Well, that does me no good. Create a treasure token, and we'll amass 2 more. That works out nice. Bingo. Had to think about that for a second. They can block any damage. We beat it with a frightening obliterator on the board the whole time. How about that? We did what we could with what we had, even though we were starting to draw a couple too many lands for my comfort. I feel like maybe they misplayed that. Like maybe there was an attack in there with the obliterator they could have done it sometime, or a block that would have had me sacrificing all of my lands. I don't know. Anyway, we're having some fun tonight. It's a new month, by the way, so some things before I forget. Whether you're new or old, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We always like it when you hit the like button. We don't get many likes, so we're trying to get more. And there's a new poll up. I do a poll once a month. It's now a new month, and this is your chance to put some input into how I conduct these videos. I'm basically asking if you want me to do what I normally do, which is do a battle first, or if you want me to do the deck tech first. And I know there are different people that have different desires, opinions on that, but the thing is, this is my hobby. I just play it for fun, and I'm going to be playing either way. Along the way, my nephew convinced me that I should go ahead and be sharing my deck creations because I create so many new decks. And some of them are interesting, at least. So, you know, I went ahead and did what he suggested, and I started putting these out there, and the reception has been pretty cool. So I'm going to keep doing it. But I like the idea of democracy, so I like the idea of giving you all a choice, which means I will go with the majority. At the end of the month, with the new year, if you want deck tech first, we'll do deck tech first from now on. If you want some gameplay first, we'll do gameplay first. And what the heck happened to the server? I hate it when that happens. I already got my 15 wins for the night. I didn't have a single hang-up the entire evening. As soon as I hit the record button, this happens. We're going to have to wait for it. I'll have to wait for it. You can speed on through. I think it's going to resolve, and then we'll finally get to the deck check. I'm just trying to open up the deck itself. There we are. Okay, Amass the Proliferation. That's the idea contained within the title of the deck. What happened was the Wizards came out with the Lord of the Rings under their Beyond... Hey, deck details. Sorry, hitting the wrong thing. Trying to get it in the right format for y'all to see the cards in the best way. They came out with Lord of the Rings under their Universes Beyond imprint, so it's not modern legal standard. It has to be in Alchemy or Historical, because they don't want to sort of cross the streams of the intellectual property, so to speak. So if they ever do a secret lair with Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters cards you cannot play with Arena Online unless it's going to be something like Alchemy or Historical. The regular modern standard format, you won't have Ghostbusters with. I said cross the stream, so that brought to mind Ghostbusters. So I'm using that as an example. I have no inside knowledge that they're going to be Ghostbuster Magic the Gathering cards. Although, kind of seems like a cool idea, so I'm just putting it out there. With Lord of the Rings, this was the first early access event I did. I was able to see all the cards. It's a really well put together deck. Not every card is brand spanking new. Wizards does that a lot with every expansion they do. They'll, reskin a card and it'll be the same spell, but with a new name with the flavor of whatever world they're in, so to speak. And we're in the world of Lord of the Rings. So there may be some cards that you recognize, but they have the flavor of Lord of the Rings. They have the art, they have the name, they have the flavor text. And I suspect Wizards of the Coast has some really big fans of Lord of the Rings because they took some really big care with putting together this expansion. In the art, in the names of the cards, in the flavor text, all of that stuff, it's all very well done. So, and if you're not a fan of Lord of the Rings, and you don't care, it's still just a good Magic set. So this is one of the things where I would not have objected if they had said, hey, let's go ahead and have this in the regular modern standard. I almost wish that it wasn't Lord of the Rings, that it was something else, just because everything looks so good. It's good to play with the mechanics, that kind of thing. They used Amass, and that's what I'm playing with today. I got a bunch of red, blue, and black cards, and I got a little splash of the Proliferation cards, because when Phyrexia came on the scene, Phyrexia was big on Toxic, which is adding poison counters, and Proliferate adds counters. So that's always been kind of something that accompanies the poison mechanic. Is if Toxic or poison counters are around, you can bet that Proliferate is not far behind. But I wanted to try and use Proliferate with something else besides poison. So I was thinking about the Amass mechanic. And just in case you're not familiar, this has been, we've done this before in Magic the Gathering, but it was many years ago. So what happens is, if you have nothing on the battlefield as far as a counter, you create an orc, a 0/0 orc army creature token. And then you give plus whatever the number is. So this is Amass Orcs 2, so if we didn't have anything there, we'd get a 2/2 orc army that you see pictured to the right. Instead of 0/0, it would have the +2 counters on it. Amass just adds to it. So if we do Volt Charge later and we Proliferate, that's going to add one more counter to the Amass token. So it'll become a 3/3. If we have the 3/3 and we do Swarming of Moria, we create a creature token, we Amass Orcs 2, then the 3/3 turns into a 5/5 army token. As long as that token is there, it's going to add whenever we cast an Amass spell. If they remove it, we have to start over from scratch. So here's what I got. I got Thrumming Bird. Whenever Thrumming Bird deals combat damage to a player, we Proliferate. So it's flying, so it's a good idea. I mean, we could get it out early. It's only cost 2. It's a 1/1. It's not big damage. If we have other creatures that are bigger threats, maybe the enemy's forced to leave this alone. Maybe it helps us build up our orc tokens. We've got 2 Drown and Ichor that also Proliferate. Target creature gets -4/-4. I don't have a ton of removal, but we put a little bit in. You sort of have to. And we have 2 Reject Imperfections to counter target spell. If it turns out the spell's mana value is 3 or less, we get to Proliferate there as well. That's most of the Proliferate stuff. I put in so much Amass because I don't get to play with Lord of the Rings cards that often. I always want to, but I just never seem to have the time to get over to this format. I have one more with Vat Emergence that also proliferates. Put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. This would help me bring back something big, perhaps, or legendary. But also that's a Proliferate card as well, because that's from the Phyrexian expansion. Okay, so then most of the rest of these are basically Lord of the Rings cards. We've got 3 Dunlin Crebanes with flying 1/1, and when they enter the battlefield, you amass Orcs 2. Grim of Wormtongue is Legendary Advisor, 1/4. Your opponents can't gain life. You sacrifice another creature, target player loses life. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, we also get to amass Orcs 2. Claim the Precious. Destroy target creature. The ring tempts you. That's another mechanic involved around the one ring. And we'll skip over that because they don't have a lot of that interaction with the ring except for when we get to Sorin the Dark Lord later. We have an Enchantment Saga, Book of Miserable. You get to amass Orcs 1, then amass Orcs 2, then creatures you control get +1 and menace until end of turn. I have 3 of those. And I have 4 legendary Goblin Soldiers of Grishnak Brast Instigator. Starts off as a 1/1 Goblin Soldier. You get amass Orcs 2. Now, the Goblin Soldier here, the Instigator, he always stays 1/1. But if you have nothing and you start with 2 Orcs, when you do until the end of turn, you gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls. So if they've got something that's a 1/1 or a 2/2, it becomes yours all of a sudden. If we amass Orcs to, say, 4 later, and we get a second one of these Instigators down, if they have a 4/4 creature, we get control of that 4/4 creature for the turn and untap and give it haste, and we can attack with it. So the larger our Orc army gets, the bigger the bomb this is going to turn into when the next one comes up on the battlefield. Swarming of Moria creates a treasure token, amass Orcs 2. This is good for my mana, and I'm going to fix that now. There's mountain. I need 1 more island. We're going to try that, although I do have a lot of red. 3 Volt Charges. This is one more. It's a removal spell, and it has Proliferate on it, so we have 1 more chance to proliferate with each Volt Charge. Assault on Asciliath. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's an X spell. You get to amass Orcs X, then Goblins and Orcs you control have double strike and haste until end of turn. So, maybe I save it till I have 6 mana, and then I get to amass Orcs 3. That'd be kind of cool. We have a Gothmog, Morgul Lieutenant, a legendary creature. I have 2 copies of it in the deck. He's a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 1. Creature tokens you control have Death Touch. That's kind of cool. The only tokens I have are going to be these Orcs. So it's just going to be the 1 Orc creature that has Death Touch. Torment of Golem. Sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You get rid of 1 of the non-land cards, and you get to amass Orcs 2. 3 copies of Warbeast of Gorgoroth. Costs 5 to get down for a 5/4. Whenever it or another creature you control with power 4 or greater dies, you amass Orcs 2. So that's kind of cool. And the neat thing is if they have a board wipe, and they do a board wipe on the Warbeast, maybe I've got a 5/5 Orc army that dies too, but I suddenly get it replaced with a 2/2 Orc army. 3 copies of the Mouth of Sauron. When you enter the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards. Then you amass Orcs X, where X is the number of instant and sorcery cards in that player's graveyard. And you can see from our deck, we have 18 non-creatures, we have 10 sorceries, and 5 instants. So depending on what the opponent's deck consists of and how far into the game we are, it may make more sense when this comes out to mill ourselves if it happens later in the game. We could get a bigger X spell. Or a bigger X amass, I should say. And 1 copy, right? Just 1 of Sorin the Dark Lord. Costs 6 to get down. He's all 3 of my colors for the deck. Legendary Avatar Horror 7/6. I like the word cost. Sacrifice a legendary artifact or legendary creature. If you want to cast a spell to impact this thing, you've got to sacrifice something legendary on your side of the board. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, amass Orcs 1. I love that part. Whenever an army you control deals combat damage to a player, the ring tempts you. And then whenever the ring tempts you, you may discard your hand, and if you do, draw 4 cards. So you saw me do that in the first match. It was lovely. And we don't have as much chance for specialty lands here. I've got 1 copy of Barad-dûr, though, that you can amass Orcs X. You can activate it only if a creature died during that turn. So that could come in handy. I've got a Hidden Cataract. This is from the new Ixalan cards. Hidden Necropolis from Ixalan cards. And Demolition Field, one of those, one Terramorphic Expanse, and one Volatile Fault that is also from Ixalan, but we get a treasure instead of a land back. So I didn't actually have high hopes for this deck. My removal is not the greatest, but I chose the one that had the Proliferate effects. And I'll ask for your input one more time on the sound as well, just because I think I finally got the settings back to where I had them before my kid tampered with them. So hopefully my voice is coming in clear and the game sounds aren't too loud anymore. But if they are, somebody leave me a comment and let me know if I need to adjust that even further. Alright. Is that Mr. Weeby? Is that the name of our opponent? I'm hesitant in terms of trying to guess. It could be Mr. YY. And there's no guarantee that's a mystery. We don't like flyers. I do have 2 of the Brash Instigators, but let's just kill this now real quick. This is blue. They could have a bunch of bounce spells. They could also have more flyers. So, flyers in. I like having the Amass 2 to start with. If they bounce my orcs, they could take control of the board really easily. Speak of the devil. And do they have just 4 unsummons, or do they have a lot more bounce spells up their sleeve? You're not going to block that. Okay, I think that's 4 mana, right? I think we just attack with the 1. We've got the counterspell, we've got the energy for it. They could put down a 5th land card. It might be worth just another Octoprophet, but okay, that's not working. They're gonna force my hand, right? Okay. Let's try an Enchantment Saga and see if we're walking into counterspells. If we are, they decided to keep it. It's only a 1/1. And the timing's kind of on their side. If they want to wait for that to grow with an unsummoned spell, that's kind of up to them, isn't it? Not blocking that again. Okay. This is power. Power that we're talking about here. See if they want to trade the 4/3. I'm betting that they won't. Which is going to be a mistake, right? Right? You can try and hit me from the air for 4. That's what I'm kind of hoping they'll do. Okay, they unsummon that. If they attack us there, we'll block, and we'll get to Amass again. Isn't it funny how what they're using mostly is the bounce spells. As soon as we won, Arena put us up against a deck with bounce spells. What a coincidence. Okay, this is a fair trade for me. I'm going to take the 5. That may be unwise. We'll see. 0, 3. Ouch. Ouch. Okay, so die. We amass 4. 2, rather. Okay. Bring this down. Take control of you. I think we just hold up for a counterspell, actually. We go ahead and attack for 9 points. And then we just chump block from the ground. This'll work. Cast all you. We don't get to proliferate because it was more than 3 mana value. But we don't care. We chump block now. With both of those things. Wait. Wait. They're getting wise to us. I don't have the ability to give them menace now. We are going to chump block, though. They're holding up 2 mana, but I have 3 of these? Oh, this is going to be great. We just keep the original one. We're up to 6. they know it. We're not done yet. Oh, they don't wait for the final hit. That would have been beautiful. They only got 2 of the unsummons. They used them a little too early, is kind of the issue. If they had saved those unsummons until my orcs were bigger, I would have been in so much trouble. So much trouble. I think that's part of the calculus that comes into the intricacies of playing Magic the Gathering, right? Is you decide, are you going to go for a quick knockout? Just do whatever spell you have as soon as you can cast it. Try and keep your opponent off balance. And just trust that you're going to be able to knock them out quickly. Or do you hold some things in reserve and realize that maybe you can't get them quite as quickly as you were planning on? And that you need to keep some ammo in case something more serious comes by that you're going to need to take care of. Now, Berador, if we had something legendary, that could come in untapped, but since I don't have a 1 mana play, we'll play the tap land. Playing 1/1 with Death Touch, okay. I think I'm okay with that. This is one of the cases where I'm going to hold this for a bigger creature. This doesn't have Toxic or anything, but this is only sorcery, so if they decide to buff this up, I could be in trouble. Oh, man. They get rid of the removal. Okay. They get rid of 1 removal anyway. My problem is if they have more discard cards. Then I can't hold on to things as much as I want to. And kind of what you hope for here is that they actually do waste removal spells when your orc tokens are, when your army is small. Ouch. Land there. There. No attacks. Willing to trade with the Etched Familiar. Come on, play removal. You know you want to. You know you want to. Or you could just wait. You could wait a turn. And another flyer. I don't have anything for a creature yet. So I didn't really have to worry about that. I mean, that takes away instants and sorceries. They only have 1 sorcery there, so Mouth of Sauron's not going to be the greatest. I already have 2 sorceries there, so just milling myself would be better. Alright. Here, you reveal your hand. Let's see. Blah, 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 da, 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 da. It's a 3-5. I don't want to. Good game. Are you gonna quit on me? They do choose to chump block with the flyer. Let's see if they just do 2 more hits and add another creature down there. Tomato, tomato. See, I lose 2 life there. Swinging for 4. They just lost 2 planes and they got a flashback. Oh, I helped them. I helped them so much. Can give their stuff menace. They can kill me next turn with this tactic. I need something. I need some help on this. Can they kill me this turn? Bring it back. Phyrexians gain menace. Take out the bigger one. We're still taking 3 points of damage. They can kill the Mouth of Sauron. I can't attack. Because all my stuff is based on building up 1 creature. And they've got 2 spells there. 1 spell. Okay. 7... I don't... Oh, I have the treasure. I could actually do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have trample. I don't have trample. 2, 3, 4. Well, I guess we just show you how this works. What? That's double strike. You were supposed to chump block. I think they didn't understand what spell I was casting. Okay. I think I got lucky on that. Okay, that's Assault on the Skiliath. The orcs gained double strike. So I expected them to chump block with maybe the 3/3 and then hit me for 8 points next turn. They thought that I was going to hit them once for 11 points and they were just going to take it? I didn't have high hopes for this deck, but sometimes people don't read the cards all the way. We're going to do one more. Well, it's about time I had a day where I was luckier than I deserve. This is why you don't quit. Although, I got my 15 wins for the day, so the extra win doesn't really help me on anything. Most people at that point, if they were in my situation, they would have just scooped after doing the math. And I was an attacker, and how many times do we say math is for blockers, but the opponent did not do the math? Okay, I can do the 1 removal spell if I need to. Do I do it on this? Oil counters. Yes. Yes, we do. because it won't make too much difference if I miss a land drop. Ugh. Okay, well, we won 2 in a row, so that's usually when I start getting land starved. Cheap 2/1 flyers. How many times are we going to see these in Alchemy? I'm not used to seeing these in Alchemy. Maybe they'll play a card later that gives the power equal to the toughness or something for the defenders. And we missed another... Okay, so what's good to get rid of here? I guess this one. That's really expensive. That's... Come on, Arena. Just every day. Arena should fix this. I played a lot of games when this game first came out, back in the 90s. And I played with 40 card decks, I played with 60 card decks. I would go over to a friend's house. Sometimes there would be groups of people there. We would play for into the evening. There were times when we were land starved. But it wasn't every gaming session. I get land starved every gaming session here. He empties his whole hand. I get a stun counter on a 1/1. They can afford it. They got 6 lands and I've got 2. They know that I'm in trouble. Okay. What can we do here? I can amass 2. Take over one of you. Go hit you over the head for 2. Just to say, attaboy, I told you so. So they're going to draw and discard with the wall, and they just throw away a 2/1, and then they still get to do their moment of truth. Which means they still got to toss another card in the graveyard, which is another 0/4 wall. More card draw, more land, and a bounce card. No, stun counters. This is what makes Lord of the Rings kind of interesting. When Arena did, not Arena, but when Wizards did. Oh, I'm just gonna block that. When Arena did the Amass mechanic originally, they took a bunch of spells like normal free spells, like White would have paralyzation spells and stuff like that, and they didn't make those for that expansion set because they didn't want to make it too easy to neutralize the one big creature. I think we should go ahead and destroy one of the attackers overhead. We'll make our thrumming bird the one that is the ring bearer. Oh, that one's... So yet again, I've been holding on to my removal, and now when I really need it with the seed shark, it's gone. Let's see. What can I do here? I can do this. But releasing this, it would be different to play limited Lord of the Rings. But when you're going into something like Alchemy, then you got a bit of a problem. And I'm still not getting the land, so if you want to look for a counter spell, there go the orcs. They used an unsummon and they ended up discarding an unsummon. Okay, we're gonna chump block here. March here. Okay, still not quite what we need. We need something to do with the flyer or we're dead. Yet another bounce spell. That's the third one. They did a little bit of digging through their deck, didn't they? We can just block that. That's fine. Got one more turn. Oh, 9 lands to 5. It wasn't that good a game. But there wasn't too much I could do there. Well, I was hoping to demonstrate a little bit more of the deck, but it's kind of a fun deck to play with. If you haven't played with the Amass mechanic before, it is kind of fun. There are other ways to design your deck to try and protect your one creature. You know, there's a lot of, you know, with the, depending on what color you use, white or green, you could give it hexproof for a turn. You could give it a shield counter. If you do more blue, you could do counter spells. There are all sorts of methods that you can use to protect your one big creature if you want to do, treat it like you're doing a Voltron build, right? And you just got one creature you're trying to build up. With this, I thought that I had enough good cards, reasonably speaking, that I could amass, but I think the Alchemy format is just really heavy with these flyers lately, as you can see. I did encounter more flyers than I expected. Yeah, I like Sauron. I like the Mouth of Sauron. I like the Amass mechanic itself. And the Proliferate, yeah, I kind of needed to draw some more of the removal, but I didn't. I went so light because I was trying to emphasize the Amass mechanic here. We didn't have a single Volt Charge show up there. We had 3 of them and 2 Drown the Ichors. And all we had was the one copy of Claim the Precious. But really, I was counting the 2 counter spells as removal, and you shouldn't, because I'm only splashing a tiny bit of blue in here, really, for, you know, let's see, what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards total. So I didn't have the massive amount of blue that I would normally have for a presence in that. So probably, you know, maybe take out a Grishnak, go down to 3 there, and put in another removal spell, that kind of thing. I definitely went light on the removal here. But as always, I'm interested in what you think of the deck, what you think of the concept, if you like the idea of using Proliferate with Amass, and what you might do differently. So like and subscribe. We'll have something new for you next time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Remember to answer that poll for me, if you would. Give your chance to vote and impact how the videos are presented. If you'd like to see the deck tech up front, the first thing, or if you actually prefer to see a battle first and see how the deck looks in action before I go into my explanation. Some of you might not care. You just zip through to whatever part of the video you want. But, you know, regardless of whether you care or not, go ahead and mark it down and let me know if you do care, what your preference is, or if you don't care at all. I've got a couple of interesting choices there for you on the post. So just look on the YouTube page. And with that, I bid you adieu. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good one.